can do, how it can bond, hoe kan dit bind en reageer met ander atome. Okay, now we discussed last year 3 types of bonds. We had metallic bonds, metaalbindings, waar jy 'n metaal gebind het aan 'n metaal. A metal is bonded to a metal normally. And there you had a sea of electrons. Jy het 'n see van elektrone gehad, waar die elektrone so kan oorgaan van die een atoom na die ander atoom en daarom kan dit elektrisiteit gelei en dit kan hitte gelei en. Dan het ons 'n kovalente binding gehad. A covalent bond is between a non-metal and a non-metal normally, and that is where they share electrons. Hulle deel elektrone en daarom kan dit glad nie hitte gelei nie of elektrisiteit gelei nie, want die elektrone is vas. Right, en dan die laaste soort binding wat ons gehad het, is 'n ioniese binding, an ionic bond. That is between a metal and a non-metal, and there was a transfer, 'n oordrag, in Afrikaans 'n oordrag van elektrone. There's a transfer of electrons from the metal to the non-metal, and that is what happens in salts, and you get a crystal lattice, 'n kristalrooster struktuur. Okay, toe het ons gepraat oor valens elektrone, valence electrons, and remember anything in a block is a definition. Wat is valens elektrone? Dit is die elektrone in die buitenste of die laaste energievlak. Nou daar wil ek gou vinnig pause en na ons periodieke tabel toe gaan. Okay, I think there is a periodic table. Yes, on your next page there is one. As jy daar wil doen, dan gaan jy jou wys. Op jou periodieke tabel, on your periodic table, you have columns, kolomme, wat jy noem groepe, groups, and you have rows that you call periods. So we have groups and periods. Okay, so group 1, group 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, or when you look at the Roman numbers, you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, nou aan het jy periodes, periode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, en hierdie 6 en 7 pas eintlik daarin. Okay, but these periods we also call the energy levels, die energievlakke. Okay, good. Now, I can't remember if I told you this story. Did I tell you the story about the Laufat Nuatas? Did I tell you the story about the upper class, middle class, lower class last year? Okay. Goed, nou hier is 'n storie wat ek op skool opgemaak het, want ek moes dit verstaan. En in my story is dit vir algemeen. It's a big generalization in my story. Okay. So the periodic table of elements is a society. It's a samelewing. And in this society you have upper class, middle class, and lower class. Okay. And in our society, electrons are money. Elektrone is geld. Okay. Can you see that? Right. Now, first of all, the upper class, the working class, is the edelgasse, the noble gases. Okay. Why are they the upper class? Because they are perfect. And wat bedoel ek met perfect? Hulle kort niks van niemand nie. Hulle elektrone is gepaard, electrons are paired, orbitals are full, and the valence energy level, valence energy vlak, last energy vlak is voltooi, it's finished. Okay, so they literally do not want to bond or associate with anyone. Anyone is mid. Then we have the middle class is the non-metals. The middle class is the nie-metale en waterstof. And they are so close to being an upper class. Let's upper God. They will steal, cheat, and lie to get there. Okay? So, en wat bedoel ek met steal? Hulle soek net 'n bietjie elektrone, dan is hulle soos die hoër klas. Okay? Okay, so C-stof, oxygen for example, it just needs 2 electrons. 1, 2, then it's like neon. So it looks around the whole time and kyk, at, if we still look at oxygen, because oxygen would either gain 2 electrons, there's of 2 electrons vat, 1, 2 here, to become like a noble gas, or it must lose 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to become like a noble gas. Which one is easier? Lose 6 or gain 2? Gain 2. Okay. So the non-metals, the non-metals are the middle class that they want to take. And then we have our lower class, or lower class, and that always forms the biggest part of the society. Okay. Nou, ek het 'n boek gelees. Die boek se naam is Shantaram. En in daai boek is dit 'n ou, ag, dis 'n baie groot boek, is regtig 'n dik boek. Maar in daai boek gaan die ou, hy vlug, hy was hy het goed gedoen in Australië, so waar veral, en toe vlug hy Indië toe. En toe gaan hy bly daar in die slums in Indië. Maar soos as ek sê die slums in Indië, soos een slum dorp is letterlik so groot soos die hele Vrystaat. Okay, dis huge. Daar bly miljoene, triljoene mense daar binne. Okay, en hulle almal arm. Okay? Maar because they are that poor and because they really have very little, they share everything. Okay? And when I mean they share everything, if your husband hits you and someone finds out, they will put your husband on a rope and on a pole in the middle, and everyone will beat your husband like he beat you. Okay? If your child is sick, it's like my child is sick. So dit is letterlik dat alles, daar is sulke die seksies word afgewaken met sulke hoopies, sulke heuweltjies. And then in the morning, they all wear dresses, right? And in the morning, they'll go, they pull up their dresses, they squat, they do their morning business. Daar, en dan sê hulle soos, ons so 'n ry, chat 'n bietjie, en dan sê hulle soos, jou is 'n bietjie slap. So maak al right, is jy fine, waar trek jy? Dis hoe hulle leer. Okay, so waar is verhaal hier? So, dit is die prentjie, that's the picture that I want you to have when you think of the metals. And when I say they share everything, they share everything. Okay? And why do they do that? Hoekom doen hulle dit? Jy kan onthou hoe die einde van die wees. Hoekom doen hulle dit? Why do they do that? Because you don't just share because you feel like it. You share want as jy deel, dan word jy spiritually noble. Nee, as jy alles met almal deel, jy het 'n goeie hart en jy kyk uit aan mense, then you can become like a noble or an upper class spiritually. So that's why the metals share, give away, because let's look at aluminium. If aluminium lose 3, 1, 2, 3, it becomes like a noble gas. Okay, and that is why aluminium is plus 3. Okay, so this is story van die periodieke tabel. Gaan dit net weer sê, you have your periods, and your periods are energy levels. Okay, so look at your periods are like energy levels, and in that energy levels, you have your last electrons. En daai energievlakke het jou laaste elektrone, en dit word genoem jou valens elektrone, jou valence electrons. Okay, so kom ons kyk hierso na phosphorus. Phosphorus altogether has 15 electrons. But in its last energy level 3, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 electrons. Okay? So phosphor has 5 valence electrons. 5 valence electrons, and it's the same as its group number, 15, 5. What's the valency? Valency van phosphor? 1, 2, 3, minus 3. So valence elektrone and valency is nie dieselfde ding nie. Valence electrons and valency are not necessarily the same thing. As ons kyk na magnesium is also in group in period 3, energy level 3. Hoeveel valence elektrone het magnesium? Magnesium het 2 valence elektrone. Wat is sy valency? Plus 2. Ek gaan daai ding vat. En baie things right. Okay, right, so let's quickly look here again. Valence electrons there. is the electrons in the last or the outermost energy level. Okay, nou gee ek vir jou 'n paar voorbeelde wat ek nou net genoem het. Then I also spoke about valency. Wat is dit? Dit is die aantal elektrone wat 'n atoom sal aanvaar, afgee of deel. So it will accept, give off or share to get the electron structure of the closest or the nearest noble gas. So hoeveel hy sal weggee, vat, deel om soos 'n edelgas te word, en ek het dit ook met jou bespreek. Toe het ons gepraat van groepe. I spoke about the groups. En daar sê ek vir jou die valens elektrone, the valence electrons. I spoke about that. Coincides with the group number. Okay, so as ons kyk daarso, het ons gesê magnesium is in groep 2, so hy het 2 valens elektrone. Aluminium is in groep 3, so hy het 3 valens elektrone. Fluor is in groep 17, so hy het 7 valens elektrone. Okay, so it's nie presies dieselfde nie, it's not exactly the same. It coincides, it relates to the group number. Dan die periode, the period there, die laaste energievlak. Sorry julle, hierdie is nie definisies nie hoor, sorry, this is not definitions. Nou, die laaste energievlak, the last energy level, is where you'll find the valence electrons. Okay, and that's also the last period where you find the element. Okay. Goed. Nou wil ek gou vinnig kyk daarna fosfor. Ek het nou net oor fosfor gepraat. And when I look at phosphorus, and that ask me the electron configuration, hulle vra eintlik die valens elektron konfigurasie periode groep, dan wil ek kyk na die aufbou beginsel of die energievlak diagramme. Rings a bell? Alright, so what does that look like again? It's 1s, 2s, 2p, that's 3, 3s, 3p. Okay, goed. Phosphorus has 15 electrons. 15 elektrone. Okay, hoe werk hierdie nou weer? Jy begin onder en dan werk jy op. En elkeen moet 2 hê in teenoorgestelde spin. En as jy by die P's kom, dan moet elkeen eers 1 hê voordat hy kan 2 hê. Okay, so ons sit hom in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, nou die vraag hierso, the question here is the valence electron configuration. Valence means last or outermost. So sy laaste energievlak is energievlak 3. Its last energy level is energy level 3, so I'm only looking or interested in that part. Okay, van hier af kan jy sien sy elektron konfigurasie gaan wees 3s2 3p3. Julle onthou dit? It rings a bell there at the back. Ek gaan julle is nie net Skype nie, maar uit my klas is Skype. Ja, julle twee. Heinrich. Okay, so van hier af, that part refers to the electrons, and this part refers to the energy level. Okay, energy level, electrons. So, as hy in die derde energievlak is, if it's in the third energy level, then it will be in period 3. Okay, en sy groepnommer verwys na sy valens elektrons, valence electrons, and we see it has 5 valence electrons, 5 valence electrons. So you can either say it's in group 5, with the Roman number 5, or you must say it's in group 15. Okay, maar as jy kyk na die periodieke tabel, groep 5 is eintlik die oorgangselement, transition element. And phosphorus is definitely a non-metal, and die metal is daar. So it can't be group 5, number group 5. It's either the Roman number 5 or in group 15. Okay, goed. Volgende bladsy. Next page. Daar het ek vir jou die hele periodieke tabel wat jy ken uit jou kop uit, né? Kom ons kyk gou hoe baie jy ken. Let's see how much you do know. Elemente in groep 1, elements in group 1 we call what? Alkali metale, alkali metals. You can see I did not highlight hydrogen, né? Because hydrogen is not a metal. Okay. Volgende is group 2, group 2. What do we call elements in group 2? Alkali earth, alkali aardmetale. Then we have our transition, oorgangsmetale of elemente, twee name. Then here in group 17, in groep 17 het ons wat? Group 17 is they are the angels close to the gods with their angels have halos, halogens. Hulle is net rondom die perfektes. Halogene, halogens. Then we have here all the way on the right hand side, we have our noble gases. In Afrikaans is dit edelgasse. Edel beteken mos koninklik. Koninklik. Julle weet dit, né? Ja? Afrikaanse kinders, weet julle dit? Edel beteken koninklik. Of hoog geag. Okay. Goed. Dan, daar is twee elemente wat vloeistowwe is by kamertemperatuur. Two elements that are liquids at room temperature, and those are coke, mercury, and bromine. Coke en broom is vloeistowwe by kamertemperatuur, and room temperature is more or less 25 degrees Celsius. So it's mercury, number 80, and bromine, number 35. Are liquids at room temperature. 80 en 35. Okay, dan het ons 'n paar wat gasse is by kamertemperatuur, a few that are gases at room temperature, and those are the obvious noble gases. The noble gases are all gases at room temperature, as well as chlorine, fluorine, oxygen, nitrogen, and hydrogen. Nommer 1, 7, 8, 9, 17. En dan die edelgasse. Hulle is almal gasse by kamertemperatuur. All gases at room temperature. Alright, en dan laastens moet jy die edelgasse ken. You need to know, nie die edelgasse nie. Die atomiese molecules, diatomic molecules. And those are, there are 7. They start at element 7. They make a 7. So dit is stikstof, suurstof, fluor, chloor, broom, jodium. So they start at element 7. They make a 7, and there are 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ma'am, where's the 7th one? Hydrogen. Waterstof. Diatomiese molekules. Carabello, what are the atomic molecules? You need to know. You have one sitting there. Your twin. So they come in pairs. Hulle kom in pare. 2, 2, 2 voor. Die means 2, not dead. So waterstof is nooit op sy eie nie. Hydrogen is never on its own. It's always H2. Nitrogen N2, O2, F2. And there's other, if they're never on their own, they're always bonded with themselves or something else. Okay. En dan 'n paar ander wat jy ook moet weet is, en ek kort net gaan nog 'n kleur om te highlight hiermee. Jy moet ken vir krom, mangaan, yster, kobalt, nikkel, koper, sink. Ek wil net kyk. Silwer, tin, platinum, goud, kook, lood. En waar's Iran? Hier is Iran. Yes. Jy moet hulle ken. Hulle name en hulle simbole. Sê weer? Platinum. Uranium. Iran. Okay. Then you also need to know their valencies, hulle valensies. Dit is alles goed wat jy in graad 10 moes geleer het, né? Group 1 is +1, group 2 is +2, group 13 +3. Group 14 is plus or minus 4 because they can either lose 4 or gain 4. Dan groep 15 is -3, -2, -1, 0. Ja? Dan moet jy ook hierdie oorgangs ken, elemente sinne ken. Nou party van hulle het meer as een valensie. Maar die wat ons baie gebruik is yster is gewoonlik 3+. Nikkel is gewoonlik 2+. Koper is gewoonlik 2+, sink is gewoonlik 2+, silwer is 1+, kook is 1+, ek dink lood is 2+. En nou nie. Goud wil nie eintlik reageer nie. Ja. Ag, silwer is 1+. Okay, daai is die wat jy moet ken, die ander sal vir jou op 'n tabel gegee word aan die einde van die jaar. Okay. Goed. Dan kry jy iets soos then you get something like polyatomic ions. Now poly means much or many. Baie. Dit beteken baie. Poly beteken baie. So polyatomic ions beteken baie atome wat 'n ion vorm. Nou jy het seker lyste gehad laas jaar dat jy moes gaan leer het. You had I think 3 tables of lists that you had to go study. Alright? Wat jy nog steeds moet ken. So as jy nie nou 'n lyste het nie, moet jy hulle gaan soek in jou graad 10 notas. Okay, I'm going to focus on the ones that we use the most. These 7 we use the most. Dit gebruik ons die meeste. Okay, die eerste een se naam is die ammonium ion. English ammonium and then second word ion. Afrikaans een woord, ammonium ion. Afrikaanse kinders, wat noem ons hierdie ene? Ammoniak. En hierdie is ammonium. English ammonia. Ammonium. Okay. Het julle dit geweet? Okay, die feit jy dit nie weet nie, weer eens, ek met my klomp silly stories. I don't have one for English, eh? In Afrikaans, the ammoniak klink soos 'n 3-letter woord in Afrikaans. So daai 3 klink is 'n 3-letter woord en dit klink soos ammoniak. Okay, dis ook wat jy kry binne in dit, kry jy dit. Okay? And the English learners, I just remember ammonia is shorter, less hydrogens. Ammonium is longer, more hydrogens. Okay. Goed, ek kan niks sê nie, ek wil maar sê. Dan die volgende ene is OH-. In Afrikaans is hy die hydroksied met 'n D ion, English hydroxide ion. So jy sal sien enigiets met 'n plus of 'n minus, anything with a plus or a minus is an ion. Okay, the next one is in Afrikaans is die nitraat ion. In English it's the nitrate ion. In Afrikaans is die volgende ene die bicarbonaat ion. English obviously bicarbonate, carbonate ion. You can also call it the hydrogen carbonate ion, die waterstofkarbonaat ion, maar ek is lui, so ek sal dit kort doen. The next one is just without the bi, die ander een is sonder die waterstof. So hy is net die karbonaat ion, the carbonate ion. Then we have the sulfate ion, sulfate ion. English, you can either write it with an F or with a PH, your choice. PH is UK, F is American. You can choose which one you want to be. Okay, and the last one is the phosphate ion. And in English, it is the phosphate ion. Again, you can do a PH or an F. Okay, so daai 7 moet jy ken uit jou kop uit. Okay. Goed, dan sê ek vir hierso, then I tell you, if in here, hierso binne-in, is hulle covalent verbind. So in there with one another, they are bonded covalently. What does that mean? It means they share electrons. But when they, as a group, when they bond with something else, then they act as an ion. Dan is dit 'n ioniese binding. Okay, soos hierso. Alrighty, dan in die volgende bladsy, the next page. Okay, is daai afboudiagramme, the Aufbau diagrams. Okay, nou jy kan sien hierso is die hele wêreld se, né? Ons gaan nie almal doen nie. I'm gonna do I think 8. Okay, kom ons kyk gou vinnig na helium. Let's quickly look at helium. Helium het hoeveel elektrone? 2, 1, 2. Kom ons kyk gou na chloor. Chlorine, how many electrons? 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 elektrone. Okay. Kom ons kyk gou vinnig na boor. Boron, B. How many electrons? 5. Gert. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes? Boron. Kom ons kyk gou na suurstof. Suurstof het 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Nou wil ek graag hê, jy moet vir my doen op jou eie. Wil ek hê, jy moet asseblief vir my doen swaal en beryllium 2+ en suurstof 2-. So on your own, I'm giving you 2 minutes. On your own. Huh? 10. Okay, right, 2 minutes has passed. Ek wil gou vir jou wys, daar's swaal. There's sulfur. Ardu. Right. So, if you look at sulfur on the periodic table, as jy kyk na swaal op die periodieke tabel, hy's net onder suurstof. It's just below oxygen. And we just did oxygen. Hierso, kan jy sien swaal en suurstof, hulle valens energievlakke, the valence energy levels look the same. They look similar. Even though it's not the same energy level, but that looks the same, and that is why they react more or less the same. Dis tree min of meer dieselfde op. Alright, then here we have beryllium 2+. 2+ beteken hy 2 negatiewe goed verloor. It lost 2 negative things. It lost 2 electrons, so now it only has 2 electrons left. And now it has the same electron configuration as helium. So now is beryllium 2+ en helium se elektrone dieselfde. The electrons are the same, not the protons, only the electrons. Because, dankie. Right, then if you look at oxygen 2-, suurstof het 8 elektrone gehad, it had 8 electrons. But 2- means it gained 2 electrons. Hy het 2 elektrone bygekry. Okay, so hoekom? Sodat hy soos neon kan word. So jy kan daar sien, all the electrons are paired, energy level is filled, happy, chappy. Alright. Anyone's got a question there? Iemand 'n vraag daar? Goed. Nou gaan ons by hoe bindings ontstaan, how bonds are formed. Was hierdie in julle nooit as laat jaar? Nee. Ek dink. Ja. Okay. So nou begin ons met graad 11 werk. We're starting with grade 11 work. I'm going to read and then I'm going to explain. Okay, let's see. Edelgasse vorm nie bindings nie. Noble gases do not form bonds. Why? Because all of their electrons are paired. And number 2, their valence energy levels are full. So al hulle elektrone is gepaard, hulle valens energievlakke is vol en daarom bind hulle nie. So we say they have a stable what's toestand in Engels? Stable condition. And they have low potential energy. So that is the aim of the game, to be stable. No one wants to be unstable. Okay? Goed. Die feit dat meeste stowwe as samestellings in die natuur voorkom. The fact that most substances in the universe is not on its own, is bonded to something else, is an indication that bonded is more stable than unbonded. En dis hoekom goeders wil bind. Okay, goed. So wat gebeur hier? So what happens here is when you have two atoms, dan gaan hulle mekaar aantrek. There will be a type of attraction force. Okay? Where will the attraction force be? Between the outside electrons and the nucleus. Okay? So tussen die buitekant en die kern is daar aantrekkingskrag. 'n teenoorgestaande aantrekkingskrag. But there's also a bit of repulsion, afstotingskragte between the orbitals and the nuclei. Okay, so it's a baie delicate, I want to say a delicate dance that happens there. Okay, so kom ons sê gou, ek en Ardu, en die Kaapraad is van baie. As julle kuier, julle is iets, as die mense begin, sê jy ook baie? Okay, want ek het uitgelag laat so net baie. Anyway, kom ons sê ons baie, dis something, kom aan. En dan staan 'n aantrekkingskrag, né? Maar as ek te klein is, te naby is, want dan gaan jy wat gaan jy moet sien dan sal 'n bietjie afstotingskrag. Nee, dan moet jy sê, dan is sorry, alles okay, ek like jou eintlik die positiewe eienskappe en dan kom ek bietjie nader. En dan kom ek te naby en dan is dit weer. And the same happens with atoms when they bond. There's a big attraction force, and then when they get close to the repulsion force, attraction, until they find the sweet spot where the distance between them is so that the attraction and the repulsion cancel out. Okay, and then a bond forms. Okay, so dis nie net ploep en 'n binding vorm nie, dis 'n bietjie van 'n en totdat dit is. Okay, so right. Okay, so you can see here there is attraction forces, aantrekkingskragte, and there's repulsion forces there, and they must find the sweet spot where a bond will form. Okay. Ons sê dis elektrostatiese kragte, electrostatic forces. What is electrostatics? It's between positive and negative things, né? Tussen positiewe en negatiewe goeders, soos protone en elektrone, is daar kragte. Okay. Nou, het ons hier 'n grafiek. We have a graph here that you need to know. Jy moet hom ken. Nou wat ek bedoel as ek sê jy moet hom ken is you don't need to be able to draw it. Jy moet dit nie kan teken nie. Jy moet dit kan interpreteer. You must be able to read it. When you get this graph, you are going to read it from right to left. Okay? You're going to read it from right to left. Dan, jy sien hier op die y-as het ons potentiële energie, potential energy. How stable is it? En hier op die x-as het ons intermolekulêre afstand. Now the word inter means between. So as ons sê ons het interklere atletiek of interhuis atletiek, né? Praat ons daarvan, julle praat van klere sport. of interskole, dan beteken dit tussen twee skole. Okay. So intermolecular distance between the molecules, the distance, and it is measured in PM. That stands for picometers. Alright. So dis 'n baie klein afstand. Okay. Goed. So hierso sien ons nou. Here we see we have two atoms. They are a certain distance from one another, and relative to where they can be, they are unstable. Hulle is onstabiel, they're unhappy. Relative to where they can be, their potential energy is high. Okay. So here we say they are unstable, onstabiel, and they are unstable for two reasons. Hulle is onstabiel vir twee redes. Rede nommer 1 is die elektrone is ongepaard. Okay? And reason number 2 is orbitals are not filled. Okay? Goed, so hulle is onstabiel, hulle wil nie daar wees nie, hulle wil graag bind en happy wees. They want to be stable. Wat sê jy? Wat sê jy? Dis jy? Okay. Dan sê dit is nou ek en Dian, nee? Ag ek en Ardu. Ardu, hoe lyk jy? Het jy nie brille nie, doen jy? Nee. Goed. Hulle sê luister hier oukie, ek het 'n ongepaarde elektron, jy het 'n ongepaarde elektron. Let's get together and sort that out. Okay, so daar's 'n aantrekkingskrag, there's an attraction force, and as the orbitals overlap, as the electrons become paired, they become more stable. And when they say they become more stable, it means they give off energy. Dit gee energie af. Okay, so here they have relative high potential energy. Relatiewe hoë potensiële energie. Okay, en hier is hulle happy chappies, want hulle het low potential energy. They have low potential energy for two reasons. Reason number 1 is electrons are paired and orbitals are filled. Okay, so they have low potential energy because the electrons are paired, elektrone is gepaard en orbitale is gevul. Okay, nou ek dink nie ek het electrons paired. Okay, nou ek dink nie ek was hier toe ek dit vir julle moes verduidelik het laas jaar nie, ek dink ek was krankelop. Maar, and various, the stories that I tell here are generalized stories to bring a point across and to help you to remember it, okay? Maar julle weet veral in graad 9, graad 8 en 9. Then there's these, mostly boys, that have a lot of energy because they want to impress girls or people around them. Ek het al nog eens gesien in die klasse, dat jy net so chill en die girls is en ons gaan as clowns in die klas and they jokes and they want to do this and then as soon as they get into a relationship, then it's like they settle down and there's a bit of stuff and it wouldn't even easy impress me and then it's just stagger it next person. Yeah? Have you seen that? Maybe 1 or 2 of them? Okay? So the same thing here. Very unstable when they're separate, run apart. Very unstable, high energies. As soon as it's bonded, it's like, everything's perfect. Alles is right now. It has low potential energy because it gives off its energy to an extreme. Okay, nou energie is baie keer 'n hitte of lig of enige so ietsie. We'll get to that. But it gives off energy. Okay. So that is why this energy here is lower, because it gave away the energy to form a bond. Okay, so it's more stable when it has lower potential energy, so dat ek daar nog gesê het, hy is stabiel. Stable. Alright. Then they were so enthusiastic about this bond. Hulle was so opgewonde, hulle gaan bid dat hulle bietjie te naby aan mekaar gekom het. They came too close. Okay, en wanneer hulle te naby aan mekaar kom, when they get too close to one another, then this positive and this positive is too close to one another. And what does positive and positive do? Repel. So as hulle te naby aan mekaar kom, dan is hulle weer onstabiel. When they get too close to one another, they're unstable again. Hulle is weer onstabiel. Hoekom? Want protone too close and repel each other. Okay, so wanneer hulle te naby aan mekaar kom, ja. Okay, so wanneer hulle te naby aan mekaar kom, dan gaan hulle mekaar afstoot, want positief en positief stoot mekaar af. En dan is weer onstabiel en dan gaan hy weer terug. Okay. So wat moet jy nou ken van hierdie grafiek? What do you need to know of this graph? You need to tell me where a bond will most probably form. Waar gaan 'n binding vorm? So hulle sal vir jou sê, jy het punt A, B en C. Waar gaan 'n binding heel moontlik vorm? B. Then they might give you values. They might give you a value here 0, a value there 200, a value here 122, a value there 400. And then they ask you, en dan hier so sê maar 'n waarde van minus 300. Then they can ask you, what is the bonding length? Wat is die bindingslengte? So alright, hier vorm 'n binding, there bond forms, so the bonding length is 122 picometers. Okay? Wat is die energie wat afgegee word as 'n binding vorm? What is the energy given off when a bond forms? 300 kilojoules per mole. Okay, so hierdie grafiek is glad nie moeilik. As jy hom kry, moet jy smile. Kan ek dit uitgehaal? Kom maar. Okay. Goed. Dan moet jy hierdie kant verduidelik. Then you need to be able to explain that. I'm going to read with you. Dit sê daar vir jou, die netto, nou netto is mos 'n plus en 'n minus. Die netto aantrekkingskrag neem toe soos die atome mekaar nader. As they come closer, the attraction force becomes bigger, want dis Newton se vierde gravitasiewet. Hoe nader twee voorwerpe aan mekaar is, hoe groter is die aantrekkingskrag.
Is dit 'n definisie of?
Newton se gravitasiewet. Nee, dis 'n verduideliking van wat daarop gaan. Die netto aantrekkingskrag neem toe soos die atome mekaar nader, dan neem potensiële energie af en stabiliteit neem toe. Okay, so we saw that as they come closer together, their stability increases. Ek is aandag afleibaar. Soos dit. Kan ek nie. Ek het nou nog vir hom ook gesê, soos my kop kan nie. Okay. As die aantrekkingskrag voldoende is, so if it is good attraction force, dis reg, then the valence orbitals, wat is valens nou weer, is die laaste energie, then the valence orbitals will overlap, okay, and it will form a molecule, and the potential energy that it had will be given off as bonding energy. Okay, so daai energie, waar is ek nou, daai energie, word genoem die bindingsenergie. The bonding energy. Okay? En dan daai lengte daar word genoem die bindingslengte, the bonding length. Okay. Goed. Ja, Caleb. Okay, nou is ons by die volgende idee daar. Gert, kom maar nie asblik asblief. Goed, wat is 'n chemiese binding? Die definisie daarso. Daar, kyk. Okay. A chemiese binding, a chemical bond, because we do have intermolecular forces that sounds like bonds. So, jy moet weet 'n chemiese binding. Chemical bond is, wat is 'n wederzijdse in Engels? Wat is 'n woord wederzijdse? Mutual, dankie. The mutual attraction between two atoms, because there is a simultaneous attraction between the nuclei and the outside electrons. Okay, so jy moet daar 'n definisie gaan ken. Wat is 'n chemiese binding? Is die wederzijdse aantrekkingskrag tussen twee atome as gevolg van, of tussen hulle kerne en hulle buitenste elektrone. Okay, we have a chemical bond where electrons are shared or transferred. Why do they do that? To become like a noble gas with low potential energy. Ons het dit ook nou 'n paar keer gesê. Okay, so as 'n chemiese binding vorm, if a chemical, sorry, I wanted to put it, if a chemical bond is formed, then it gives off energy. So as 'n binding vorm, dan gee hy energie af, because it becomes stable, it becomes happy. And when you break that bond, you will need energy. So as jy daai binding wil breek, dan gaan jy energie benodig. Want jy maak hom dan onstabiel, hy wil nie daar wees nie. Okay, ek weet dis verskriklik baie teorie. This is a lot of theory before we can get to the application of it. Okay, goed. Dan het ons hierso wat is 'n bindingsorde? Daar staan nie bo nie of bo nie. Dis bindingsorde. Bindingsorde is of die kovalente binding 'n enkel, 'n dubbel of 'n triple binding is. Okay. So as die bindingsorde 1 is, the bonding order is 1, then it's a single bond. If it's 2, then it's double bond. 3, triple bond. Okay, so dis net 'n bewoording, please. It's just a wording for something. Ek gaan nou by hierdie gesinnetjie kom daarso. The bonding length, die definisie daar, is the distance in picometers between the centers of the two atoms in a covalent bond. Okay, it must be a covalent bond because that is when they are the closest together, the two atoms. Okay, en dit is tussen die middelpunte, want as jy kyk hierso, sê maar jy het nou vir waterstof en waterstof. Okay, when they bond with one another, if you have hydrogen and they bond with one another, then there's an overlapping of orbitals. Okay, so we can't say, all right, the bonding length or the radius of an atom is from there to there times 2. Ons kan nie dit sê nie. Ons kan nie sê die radius is van daar tot daar maal met 2 nie, want hulle overlap. Okay, so ons vat hom van die middelpunt tot die middelpunt. Ons noem daai die bindingslengte. En dit is baie moeilik om die radius van 'n atoom te bepaal. It's very difficult to determine the radius of an atom because atoms are actually clouds of electrons going like this. Want elektrone, remember there's not a circle en dan sien elektron daar in die sirkel. Then it's there, then it's here, then it's there, then it's there. So hulle beweeg in verskillende orbitale roetes, so dit is letterlik so 'n wolkie wat so beweeg. So you can't say, all right, if I want to get the length here, I'm just taking the radius times 2. Daai radius is 'n baie moeilike ding om te bepaal. Okay. Ek wil julle nou nog iets gesê. We gaan nou daarby kom. Right, so dit sê vir jou hierso 'n rowwe benadering, so a rough estimation of the covalent radius of an atom is where you take the bonding length and you divide it by 2. Ons weer is heeltemal waar nie, maar jy vat hierdie ene, daai lengte en jy deel hom deur 2. Dan sit min of meer die radius van hom. Okay? So if you look there, the bonding length between chlorine and chlorine is that. So the radius of a chlorine atom gaan wees gedeel deur 2. Wat is dit? 100 100? Nee, is nie 100 nie. Daar is 100. Nee, is nie 100 nie. 99,8? Wat? 0.5. It's true. Picometers. Okay. Okay. Goed, so. Nou wil ek gou vir julle wys. Sê nou maar jy het hier 'n binding, né? Jy het hier 'n bond, right, between two atoms. This is called a bonding order of 1, 'n bindingsorde van 1, want daar's een binding, one bond. Okay, jy kan sien daar's 'n sekere lengte tussen hulle. Right. Then if we have a double bond, a double binding, soos in suurstof byvoorbeeld, then you can see that immediately the two are closer to one another. Hulle is dadelik nader aan mekaar. So a double binding se bindingslengte is korter, the bonding length is shorter, and now the bonding order is 2. Hallo. So 'n bietjie. Ek gaan nou Okay. So die bindingsorde hierso is 2. Nou wat ek wil hê jy moet sien hierso vir my nê, is sê nou maar dis hierso. Hierdie atome, hulle beweeg so die hele tyd, maar hulle beweeg ook so. So ek besig om hierdie balletjie te dra. Dis turning this ball. So also busy moving like this the whole time. Die hele tyd. So if I have a double bond, then this thing can turn like this, but it struggles to turn like that. So om so te draai, breek hierdie ding en dan vorm hy. En dan breek hy en dan vorm hy. Okay. Then next thing is to break a single bond. Om hierdie ene te breek, kan ek hom net breek. Yes, it takes energy to break it, but not a lot compared to when you need to break a double bond. Because to break a double bond, you must break this one and then this one. Okay. So hierso sê ek vir jou, hoe hoër die bindingsorde is, hoe sterker is die atome aan mekaar vas. So the higher the bonding order, the stronger the atoms are bonded to one another, so you'll require more energy to break them. Okay. Goed, en dan die laaste gedeelte vir vandag, the last part for today. Hier sien dit waar hy vinnig gegaan vandag. Dan bindingsenergie, the bonding energy is the energy that is given off. Die energie wat afgegee word. The energy that is given off. The energy that is given off when a covalent bond forms. En daarom is dit 'n minus. That is why it's a negative, because it gives it away. Hy gee hom weg. Okay? And the dissociation energy. Wat beteken die woord dissociation? Dissociasie. To break apart. So as jy 'n maatskappy of 'n besigheid met iemand het en julle dissocieer, dan breek jy julle die besigheid op. Okay? So dissociation energy means the energy that is needed, jy nodig energie om 'n kovalente binding te breek. Sorry, hierdie is definisies, hoor, that is definitions. The energy that is required, needed to break a covalent bond, and that is why it is a plus, because you need it. Okay. Okay, graad 11, so dat was 'n vinnige intro.